Well, today's training is going to teach you some things maybe that you haven't even looked at in the system. One of the areas is the budget. So I don't know if it's useful to you. The gentleman that I used to work for at an agency, he was really, really big on budgets. And so agency system does have a method that you can create a budget. Typically it's on expenses and things that you want to budget for, and then you measure it during the year with reports. But if you wanted to set up a budget, you go up to GL, and this is your budget maintenance. And so you just choose the GL number just like you do, your accounts. And I know Carol doesn't know this, but you can click on a name like utilities, and you can do that with an asterisk if you don't have your caps lock on. And it would pull it up by the name, and it's looking for this alpha code right here. So I could choose this, and the department would probably be GA for general account, and this would be for 2013, and then I could put in my budget. And then I would go to the next expense or whatever I'm measuring. It might be income that you're measuring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So has anybody ever used this that it's been on the system for a while?
No.
Okay. You can budget by month or you can budget by the year. And then you can compare after, and then after you set up your budget, you can set it to last year's budget and save changes and everything. So this may be something you really, really, truly find as a huge tool if you're trying to create a budget. And then you can go and tell our government how to do a budget. That was supposed to be a joke. Okay. Nobody finds my humor interesting. Okay, but any questions about setting up your budget?
No.
Okay, pretty straightforward. Do you think this is a tool that might be useful to you? Somewhat.
Somebody in my office.
Yeah, somebody in your office might find this tool as a useful tool, and you might mention it to them. If they want to see exactly how it works, they can go into the demo data. Everybody has access to the demo. You just simply go to your desktop, click on the login, and it's 95 and DCS and Empire, EMPYRE. And you can get into a set of demo data. It doesn't have much in there, but you can't hurt your real system. And so if you're testing something, no matter what it is, go in here and test it first before you make a big old mess in your real accounting system. So GL and GL budget maintenance. And you can just create all of those for every GL account that you want to track. Really useful for management, not so much for, bookkeepers and things that just crunch the numbers. But if they find this interesting, we'll be glad to help. And, of course, your income and expense, they already know this, but, you can track that, and it would have last year's and the percentage of change, and so you can run these kinds of reports based on your budget rather than actual. So you can run your reports based on comparing to your budget. So that's what Jennifer's talking about. So if you determine early on that you want to spend 20% of whatever number or whatever number, you can, track it during the year to see if you're within your budget. Okay, so one of the next items that Jennifer wanted me to cover, well, one of the things that I want to show you is what we are promoting is a daily reconcile of cash. As you know, one of the problems or one of the things that support hears about a lot of the time is the bank reconciliation. So how many of you do the bank rec?
Me.
Carol.
Yeah. And so you know how to go to the bank rec, and I don't know what kind of data I have in here, so I'm going to have to back this up somewhat because I don't use it every day like you guys. And so, you know, you come in here, and what is the struggle? The struggle is always putting this cash together, right? Because when you get your bank statement, it's one item. It says you put X number of dollars in the bank, but it's comprised of all of these things right here. And you come in here and you group these things together. Is that the way you're doing it now? Is that the way you're doing it now, and you group the transactions and then you reconcile them?
I set up a dummy account, and then when I just then do a bank transfer over to this account, so it will show me my one total, and I don't have to go group everything.
Okay. Well, here's some different ideas, okay? Let's say that you took some money in for a commission. So you would go up here to cash transaction, and you'd put the bank code in and the GL code. Now, we're going to use 1130, but if you're putting it to an income account, you know, you would put it directly to an income account, right? And then, of course, the company, whatever company you're going to put it in, and GA for the department. And this is an EFT. I've looked at my online banking. I don't want it to show in my cash deposit report today because I want my cash deposit report to match my actual deposit. And so whatever I put in here, let's say that it's April. And we got $1,000. So we got $1,000 here. Now, I know that it's there because I checked the online banking. That's why I'm making this entry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to go ahead and reconcile this. And you just come over here to reconcile. It's going to reconcile this one receipt. And you just click accept. And you exit. So when you run your report, you go up to AR, cash report. And I'll back this up because I think I was playing with something. And you just do only unreconcile. You could use your starting and ending cash to match up with your cash report. And you just click on, I've reconciled all mine. So let's go back in here to cash deposit, and we'll say both reconciled and unreconciled. So you use the reconcile button, and by the time you get to the bank rec, all your deposits have been reconciled throughout the month if you're using online banking. You think that would be a help to you?
Yes.
Okay. And so by the time you get to your bank reconcile, you just come in here to bank reconcile, put the bank code in, put the amount of money in, say okay, and all that's going to be left here are just the checks that are outstanding. All the cash has already been reconciled because you've checked, it's cleared the bank, it's the date range has been done, and you've reconciled them. So all you would have to do here is to check off the uncleared checks, perform the reconciliation, and you're done. I know people that are spending hours and hours and papers and deposit reports and all kind of stuff just to do this bank rec. When you check your deposits every day to make sure they match, or weekly or whatever with your online banking, and if the entries in the system match the deposit and you reconcile it under cash transaction, you've really done your bank rec as you go along. Does anybody do that on a daily or weekly basis?
Yeah.
Good job. Are you doing it in this fashion, or are you doing it a different way?
Market, we pull a bank from the bank, reconcile it through that period, and then the next time we start at a different date.
Okay, so you're not reconciling it on a daily basis. You're doing it when you get your statement.
Pretty much a weekly basis.
Okay, so you're coming in here and doing a perform reconciliation?
Weekly.
Weekly.
Yeah, or every 10 days.
Okay, so it never really matches your bank statement when it comes in. So you never have a report.
At the end of the month.
Okay. The method that they are recommending is that you do your cash during the day or once a week or something, and then come in here and check off your checks at the end of the month when you get your statement. But if it's working for you, then whatever workflow works for you. But this is the new recommendation for BankRec. Does anybody else see that this might be a benefit to just simply go in here, go to your bank deposit, not your cash report, but your cash transaction, and then reconcile a starting cash to ending cash, and then you've grouped your deposit. You see how that would work?
But you're not saying reconcile when you're through marking those. You just wait to the end of the month to do one reconciliation.
Nope, they're reconciled as you go.
But I thought we came in on the tail end of that, and I wondered if that's what you were talking about.
Okay. Support is recommending, instead of doing this big deal at when you get your bank statement, to reconcile your cash on a daily or weekly basis. And this is based on your cash report and your cash transactions, your receipt numbers. And so you would just come in here and say, this cash receipt to this cash receipt, I've already know that they're in the bank. That was that deposit. And when you click reconcile, accept, it's reconciled in your system. You are reconciling your cash daily or weekly. You're just not reconciling the checks that are cleared. You would wait until your statement comes and do a bank rec and check off the cleared checks, and you're done. If you do it when your bank statement comes in, then you've got a balance that is the balance that matches your statement. Okay. Anyway, that's their suggestion. If it works for you to do it on a weekly basis and it's working for you, continue to do that. But this is just some options that Support is trying to promote, and we've created documentation around that should you want to try this method.
Okay, thank you.
Let's talk about premium financing.
Okay. Premium financing seems to be one of those agency-billed things that's just strange. Some people find it very, very difficult to understand, but it's truly not. It's truly just fairly easy to do. So let's say that this American General Agency is I've brokered this through a general agent, so I might have taxes and fees and premium finance this. So when we go to an invoice, let's insert a transaction. We'll do an endorsement. We've created a new transaction. That's really, truly, absolutely necessary. You have to have a transaction. If you don't understand transactions and sequences, please let me know, because this is critical that everybody understand. The sequences and the transactions have to stand alone. Each one stands alone, and it has to be in chronological order. If you want me to go over that, I'll be glad to. But this is the key to having all your reports and our new product called DataView. It's imperative that you understand this flow. And then you just simply click on Next, and I've got a little wizard in mine, so please disregard that. Yours won't do that. So this might be the premium. The transaction is endorsement, BAP. This is the company I'm going to pay. It's 10%. I'm going to pay top-notch 40%. And this is the description of what this endorsement does, and this is what's going to print out on my client. I want to point out that you can actually combine the taxes and fees and even the premium finance, and on the invoice it would just be a bottom line. He would not see, the client would not see taxes and fees separated. And you can decide if that's appropriate or not. So I'm just going to leave mine at yes, and then I click Next, and this might be a policy fee. So I just put in the policy fee here. I have to change my transaction code to fee, and this might be a policy fee. So I choose policy fee for my transaction. It gets no commission. It's still going to the broker, the American General agent, and I might put fee in here. And then I just click on Next. The next one might be tax. I would change the transaction to tax, and then I would change the class code to SLT. It, too, is going to be paid to general agency. So if you're filing your own taxes, this would be to a different company. And then I'm going to premium finance this. So this is the amount that I'm going to premium finance. And it comes in here as a credit. So it's going to be paid directly from the premium finance company to American General Agency. And so I change this, and I change this to premium finance. And I just click on Finish and Save and Finish, and I have a down payment that's right here, $356.89. So here, this one gets the premium, the commission, this gets no commission, and this is the premium finance. Now let me show you something that you may or may not know. If you go up to payment, you can see what you owe your company. This is the balance. And as you pay your companies, it will zero this balance out. The same thing holds true if you have paid your producer or not. So on an individual invoice basis, you can just click right there and see whether or not you've paid your companies. Okay? So that's the premium finance. So any questions about premium finance? Because that was one of the things that Jennifer wanted me to cover.
Elaine.
Yes, ma'am.
This is, we do some of the, we have one company that does that, and she needs to see that she's not in here. She's busy doing something else, which is important. And
well, remember, this is being recorded.
Okay, and I'll just tell her to come watch it on that. The other thing is this is agency. On the direct bill where they're paying monthly, do we do the financing that way, the same way? You know what I'm saying?
So you direct bill and you premium finance a direct bill?
Well, we don't premium finance it, but it's a policy for 6 months, and they pay it monthly.
Well, you just enter that like you do your other direct bill.
Just on a commission download?
If you don't use commission download, you can invoice it individually and reconcile receivables on direct bill. You know, speaking of direct bill, I'm going to vary our training just a little bit. If you've got a statement and it does not download, if you've got a commission statement and it does not download, and it only has 1 or 2 invoices, just come in here and invoice it just like we did this agency bill. It's no different. And then you would just go up to AR and reconcile receivable, and the invoices would be in there for you. If you've got a long statement, a big long statement, and you need to, get in and get out and do it through Commission Builder. But the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entries, I would do that on an individual basis and save these Commission Builders for the big statements that I have to enter.
Lane, what I was talking about was installments on the direct bill.
It works exactly the same. So if this was an installment on direct bill, you would just come in here to the invoice. You would go to policy, insert a transaction. It would be installment. This would be the installment date. And it's direct bill, and you just do it the same way. But it has to have its own sequence. It's no different than any other billing. Each transaction has a sequence, a transaction code, and an effective date. It really doesn't matter if it's agency bill or direct bill.
Okay.
It matters how you receive the commission and match those invoices together, or you pay your company agency bill and you send out a check. That's the difference. But the invoicing functions work exactly the same. You just create an installment. Okay, any other questions about invoicing or anything that you want me to demonstrate?
I think we're good.
Everybody understands sequences and transactions and effective dates? Everybody know that you can't use REN for a transaction. You can only use it once per policy period because it will mess up all your production reports.
The last time I just found that out the last time, and that really opened our eyes to a lot of things.
You see this? This is sequence 99, and this is REN. That's the only time that I can use this, REN, during this policy period. I can insert a transaction, I can endorse it, I can have an audit, I can have a reinstatement, I can cancel it, I can do everything, but I can't renew it again until, I can't use the REN transaction until it actually renews. So new and renewal are triggers for this program. And it says, oh, you've used REN, it's time to recalculate that premium. And so in your reports, if you're using renewal over and over and over and over, you're really doing yourself a disservice because all of your production reports will just not be accurate at all. Okay? All right. Speaking of reports, are any of you using the automated reports to just print? Are you just printing them on an automatic basis, as needed basis?
As is, as we will need them.
Yeah. You know, I worked on several other systems, but one of them was the Applied program. And there were certain reports, if you didn't run it before you closed your month, you just didn't have access. One of them was the aged receivable report. But, you know, our system, you know, you can call up a report with the date parameters at any time. And so, but some people really like to go ahead and say, I'm going to do the balance sheet and the income and expense, and, you know, I'm going to do the invoice register and all that stuff. And you can pull in all of these and run them all at once. Or you can click wait, and you can have them run at night after everybody closes. And when you come in, you got a big old pile of paper, right? Okay, so this is available to you should you need to.
It just runs the ones you want. Automatic report just runs the ones you want.
Ma'am, I didn't hear you.
Automatic report, runs the ones that you have marked to run.
Yes, ma'am. That's true.
Run them all. Right. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. If you wanted to run all of them in a batch instead of, but they're kind of preset with certain parameters. If you're more of a customized kind of person and you want to customize it based on what you want, then you would come in here and, use your aged receivable like this. And sometimes I used the summary form, sometimes I didn't. Let me tell you something about direct bill that I discovered when I was an agent. Before you close your month, this is critical right here for direct bill, because by the end of the month, your aging statement for companies on direct bill should be 0, because you should have taken the money in under 1130 and matched all those invoices and zeroed them out before you close your month. Because when you click preview and you've got money in here like I have, you need to go in and either see, now this one has a credit. I need to create those invoices. And this one has some debits here. So that means that they're invoices, but I haven't put any commission to it. So if you run that report, then you need to do some research, because you've created receivables that will be on your balance sheet and everything, but you won't zero them out.
Okay. Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
If we've researched it down to just a small amount, can we just journalize that out? And I'm talking about from our transition from one software to the other.
Those beginning balances. In your beginning balances.
No, it's just it wasn't correctly done in the first few months of our transition.
We had some duplicate, because when you can run that commission, the commission download or builder several times and put it out there more than one time.
So you duplicated a bunch of stuff, is what you're saying?
We've duplicated, and we've had some errors on some stuff. And I've
you would have to actually go in. I don't know if a journal entry is going to do it, because, see, those invoices are going to impact your production reports.
Not that much, and it wouldn't matter.
Okay. Well, just call Cheryl. She'll walk you through it.
Okay.
Call support. And if a journal entry is the way to do it, just ask her, how is this going to affect my reports?
Okay.
And if it's going to affect your reports in a dramatic way, then she will tell you.
Okay.
If I do a journal entry, how is it going to affect my reports? That's the key question.
Well, and another thing it'll do, it'll still leave those out there in our receivables. It'll just change the general ledger.
Right.
But what I was going to do was just mark them, just to show that they came through, let it originate a cash receipt, and then journalize the cash out.
Okay. I'm sure Cheryl will guide you through that.
I do.
All right. Does everybody know how to run this report? You see the importance of it? That this should be 0.
Probably at least 12.
Before you close your month, which means that you've matched up all your commissions with invoices and vice versa. Really important stuff before you close your month. Okay. Everybody running reports like policy list report, invoice register. Invoice register is the only report that ties to the GL month.
Okay, it ties to the GL month.
This is the only report. A production report is like a book of business. It's looking at the policy. It's looking at the policy, the transactions, what was entered in each transaction, and so forth, irrelevant of the dates of the GL month. This is the only report that ties into the GL month. And so you can do it by summary, or you can be detail, and you can export it to an Excel spreadsheet. You can do it by agency bill, direct bill. You can use your report by, all of these parameters. You can do bill method here, all departments, and so forth. But this is the way to tie it to a GL month. This would be the actual invoice that's created within these date parameters.
When does it actually become income?
Okay, very good question. Okay? So when I created, every time you create an invoice with commission and I click save, it goes into the month right here. This is your GL month. You see this invoice date?
Right.
That's the month that the income goes in. So this date right here says this is GL month.
Okay.
The same thing holds true for direct bill. If you're invoicing direct bill up front and reconciling on the back end, not using Commission Builder, but doing that true, what we call true reconciliation, you get a direct bill in, somebody invoices it, and then you pay it down. Well, that's great. You're checking back against your company to make sure that you get that commission in. That's a good thing sometimes, because sometimes these brokers and stuff will have a direct bill and you don't know if you get your income in or not. So you can pick and choose which method you use, but when you do that direct bill invoice is when it goes in as income. And typically, direct bill is always on a cash basis, not an accrual basis. Okay, so we've covered the new bank reconciliation, cash transactions. So anybody have any questions about this concept? No? Okay. Any questions about any other reports that you want to see? Jennifer said that there might be some need for looking at some different reports.
Yeah, maybe we should touch on maybe some production reports, and it's important for everyone to understand where the information is pulled from, because that's then critical on how you're inputting all of your invoices and that type of thing, so you know where that information comes from.
Okay. They've pared these down to, it used to be a long list, huge list, and they've got it active production by date, and you can use different parameters based on what you want to see. And then the active date, this is as of today, and you can preview it, which is a report, or you can export it to an Excel spreadsheet. Of course, if you're really good at Excel, you can slice and dice it in any fashion you want. Now, I have a little bit of data, and this is what my data looks like, and this was by client. So this was active by client. Doesn't matter when it was entered. The GL month is what I'm trying to spit out here. It doesn't matter about the GL month. This is based on, this was based on client. So it started with Amy, and then brand new, and Brian, and so forth. So it's in alphabetical order. And then when I get to the very bottom, it gives me a summary. Of course, the other production reports, like new business, is by effective date. So you'd choose your effective dates, right? And again, you can do it by different parameters here. And you can preview it, which is a report, and export, which is Excel. And I have absolutely no new business. So let's go back in time. Maybe I've written something this year, I reckon. Okay. I've demoed a few things. So that would be your new business report based on those date parameters. And again, this is pulling from those sequences. That's crucial to everything. So if you mess up that, then you've messed up any of these reports. And then there's this user-defined report. And then you can really, really customize this. You can do it by client, you can do it by policy number, all this stuff here. You can do a summary, and then all of this is open to you. You can choose a different class code, or you can click on this little plus sign and, say, well, I just want this and this. So it has those two codes in there, or you can leave it at all. So this is the way that you customize the reports, and then you can save these as templates. So you can save your customized production reports as templates and run them each month. So that's the production reports. The one that the support team likes better, well, I'm not going to say better, but they like this one a lot, is the sales analysis report by class, company, and so forth. So it's got a lot of the same parameters, and you can do a fiscal year or a calendar year. You can do it compares it to last year, where the production reports don't. They don't compare. So this is a very, very, very good report. But again, it's based on the deliberate entry and the sequences and the quality of the entries in Commission Builder and so forth. So it's based on your entry work. Okay. Any questions about the bank transfer? Everybody understand that should be, I'm sure y'all use this pretty regularly. Okay. Anything anybody else wants to cover? Anybody have, ma'am?
I was going to say, is everybody ready to use the stuff that we covered today?
Maybe.
Maybe. You want me to go over something else again? I'd be glad to.
I think I just need to absorb a little bit.
Okay.
And now that I have the software, it should be much faster for me able to kick the recording out so that you can absorb and then review, which always helps solidify everything in your mind.
It does.
Melanie, did we go over, actually closing the month yet?
Oh, okay. The only time you would be out of balance is if you've created some journal entry and you forgot to do both sides. And when I say that you're out of balance, when you do a journal entry, you know that it's two-sided. You have to put the credit in, and then you have to add and put the debit, or vice versa. It has to have a zero here. If you created one and you got out of it, it will remind you this journal entry is out of balance. It will remind you, but it will allow you to get out of it and be out of balance. If you're ever out of balance, there's a worksheet that you have to create, and our support team will help you find what you're out of balance on, but you have to do that before you can close your month. But otherwise, it's the simplest thing in the world. You just come in here and close your month. You just put in the last day of the month, and you close the month. You just close the month like this. If I can get the date in there, right? So you just close the month, and you're closed month. If you ever wanted to open a month, you just come in here. You know those back posting journal entries that our CPAs send to us? Mm-hmm. You would just come in here. You would put the month in here that you want to open. Yours is usually 12/31, right? And you would, if it was closed, then you would just open the month, and then you would come down here, you would open the last day, you would go out, you would come in here, you would go down here to your journal entries, create all those journal entries on 12/31. You would have to date them 12/31/12. Then you would X out of here, and then you would go back to close the month, and you would put in 12/31, and you would close the month, and it closes that day again. It's just that easy.
The hard part's remembering the date.
Yeah.
The hard part is remembering when you do your journal entry, you have to put in the right date. You're exactly right. That's the challenge. You have to be absolutely deliberate in your entry work for this to work right. Had somebody in 6 months ago, they did all those journal entries, and they made them effective today, the day they were doing it, because it defaulted. They just forgot. So they had to call support. They deleted all those, and they had to do all the work over again.
But when you go to close that December again, well, it'll tell you you're out of balance, won't it, if you've got a date wrong?
No.
It won't?
No, the system doesn't know you were supposed to put those in 12/31. Nope, as long as those journal entries are in balance, system doesn't know what day it was supposed to have on those journal entries.
Okay.
That's a good question, though.
Melaine?
Yes, ma'am?
If you're in the policy, the invoice screen, there is no way to print that, is there?
This?
Oh, it is? Well, has it always been there?
Yes, ma'am. You mean print the invoice?
No, it doesn't print. It doesn't print that screen like that.
Oh,
Okay.
you want to print this screen?
Uh-huh.
You want me to show you how to do it?
Yes.
Click on Alt on your keyboard in print screen. Alt, ALT, and print screen. Then pull up Word and right-click and paste.
Got it.
Alt, print screen, right-click and paste into Word, and it takes a screenshot. So you can actually create your own manual, which is a great thing. And so if you wanted to create your manual, you could create a client. Okay? You could create a client, and we'll call this our procedure manual. Okay? This is just an idea. So you've created a client that is your procedure manual, and you can create a memo, and you can paste those things in there. That's a smiley face. But you can create your own procedure manual with screenshots, things that you've decided to do. And then when you file Save As, this is your procedure manual.
Okay. If we have deleted a bunch of clients, which we've had to do on from the transition, is there any way we can get a list of those that we've deleted?
No, I never delete clients.
Well,
Once
I mean, these
deleted,
are like,
they're gone.
these are like way back.
If you wanted to go back to a client that you don't want, you just mark them inactive, and then they go away. So you would just mark them inactive so that you would still have the history and everything, but when you click delete, they're gone.
Well, we even had some duplicates.
That's okay. You still just mark them inactive.
Okay.
And
You never
get a
delete
list of
them.
the inactive?
Okay, this is the way they would show inactive. Okay, so you just mark them inactive here on the detail tab and save, and they become an inactive client.
And we can print a report that will list all our inactive clients?
Nope, but in the future you will be on the newest release. You can see inactives.
Good, okay. So we won't enter them again if they come back?
Well, the first thing you do is always search. You never start without searching.
Right.
That's just a rule of thumb. Search for your client first. always. You can search by a phone number, part of the address, so that you are absolutely certain it's not in your system. Okay, good questions. Thank you.